This is Mary from Mary's Home Sweet Home Creations, and I am starting my baking for Christmas. I usually make Christmas baskets or Christmas tins, something that I can put all the cookie variations in to give to family and friends. And today I'm going to be making the old-fashioned Grandma Monroe sugar cookies. And this recipe was given to my family by Grandma Monroe, who was a lady that my mother-in-law knew, and we shared a cabin with them for a long time, and we were lucky enough to use that cabin. So these cookies are pretty special. They have a really nice meaning for us. This recipe has been doubled. It takes 1 cup of butter, so there's 4 cups of butter in here now, and it takes 1 1/3 cup of sugar. So there are 2 cups of sugar and 2/3 cup of sugar total to double. I have 4 eggs in here because it normally would take 2 eggs, but we doubled it, so there's 4, and a dash of nutmeg. So we put a little more nutmeg in for a double. 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and so doubling it, you're going to put 2 teaspoons of vanilla, and then we're going to add the 6 cups of flour because we're doubling. So hopefully this is going to get pretty big, lots of ingredients, and normally you'd have 3 cups, but I'm doubling it, so we're putting in 6, and 1 tablespoon of baking soda, 1 tablespoon of baking powder. So since we're doubling it, we're putting 2 teaspoons of baking soda and 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Then we're going to roll it in balls, but I use my little scooper. And we're going to put those onto the cookie sheet. After we roll them in sugar, we will press them down. And you don't roll them in sugar. You put the cookies on the sheet. Then you use the bottom of a flat glass pressed into sugar so that it will stick to the cookies, and you push them down with that. I will show you that when we get there. And we're going to be baking it at 375 for 9 minutes. And then removing them while they're hot, because these ones do stick if you leave them there to cool the entire way. You have to take them off while they're still warm and then place them on a rack. So here we go. Okay, so that is a double batch all mixed together, and that was 6 cups of flour. So one little hint: when you're adding your flour, you want to have it on the lowest setting, especially when you have this much dough that you're working with, because you're going to be adding a cup at a time, maybe 2 cups to start, and then starting the mixer, adding in the 3rd cup slowly on low, and then each of the other 3 cups. If you do not do that, you will have an explosion of flour, which I did it today. Unfortunately, I was not thinking clearly because I have not baked for a while, and boom, flour everywhere. But I cleaned it up, and now I added a little more flour, and we are ready to put our cookies on the tray. Okay, so I have 1 pan, 1 tray of cookies put on the tray with my little scooper. And this is the scoop that I love to use right here. It's just the right size. It's a Pampered Chef item. They have different sizes. I also use the spatula, which is a Pampered Chef. So once you have these rolled out, or you scoop them out onto the pan, you have to make sure you have a little bit of space around them because they're going to be flattened out like these are. And I use a glass with the flat bottom. Okay. And you first put it in the dough to get the butter coating on it, and then you put it in the sugar, and then you take it over to your tray and you push down evenly and then lift up. Now you want to try and get them all the same consistency on the side so they're not some thick, some thin. And these will stick if you don't take them off warm. Sometimes I'll do it one more time if it doesn't look like there's enough sugar on that cookie. There you go. And so once this is like one tray, and I have a lot more dough, so I may get at least 3 to 4 trays of cookies, and there are 6 in each row. 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's 5, so 6 times 5, there's 30 cookies on a tray. So 30 times 3 is 90, or if I get 4, that'll be 120 cookies out of this double batch. And these are called the Grandma Monroe old-fashioned cookies. Now the glass that I'm using is kind of got a funny story. It is actually a Crown Royal glass. You can't probably see it with the sugar on it now, but there's a little Crown Royal symbol on the bottom. I don't drink. I've been sober for 37 years, but my husband got Crown Royal one time for Christmas, and they came with these glasses, and it's just the perfect glass because it's flat. It's also very heavy on the bottom because it came with this little thing that lights up. So we don't have to push very hard, or you can kind of see it when I go sideways. You don't have to push very hard with this one because it's a heavy glass. So I just push it down. And so it works really well for this. And if you do drink, don't drink too much Crown Royal, or you probably will burn your cookies or something else will happen. So anyways, I also wanted to just say one thing about tradition. If you have a family tradition that your family loves, like baking cookies or going out and looking at Christmas tree lights on Christmas Eve, or you like to go to Mass at midnight on Christmas Eve or on Christmas morning, or you like to go out and build a snowman or decorate together in your home with a tree or other items. Maybe you have a big Christmas dinner and your family likes to put together a nice Christmas table. Any of these things can be really nice to pass on to your children. So make sure if those are special cookies and there's special things that they like, that you show them how to do it while you're still here. And I appreciate all of the things that I've been given by those who are not here anymore and passed on to pass on to my children. So think about that as you're making and baking these cookies, what kind of traditions you have in your family, or you could start a tradition. So I'm going to come back and show you the baked results. Okay, this is the first tray of cookies off the sheet. Excuse me. So if we bake these at 9 minutes at 375 degrees, and it was a little bit too long because they stuck more than I wanted them to, and they were getting a little brown. And they're supposed to stay pretty light colored, and you need to get them off right away. My air bake pans, I've been using for a long time. I love the air bake, but I might need to get some new ones because it really depends on your pan and how hot your oven is with these. So there was too many on a tray because they do spread. So some of them kind of blended together, and so I kind of had to make little hexagons when you're done flattening out the sides. But they all taste yummy, no matter what. But this tray, I wanted to show you how you could put colored sugar over the top. Also, if you just wanted to give it a little more Christmassy sparkle, you could add the colored sugars, gold or red or green or blue, whatever you want. And so I'm going to do this tray probably 8 minutes instead of 9. And I'm going to try and get those off quicker so that they're not sticking to the pan as much. But it really depends on what pan you use. If you use parchment paper also would work. And I may try that in the next tray. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, so that was my first 2 batches. I made a little tray out of that to send with my son to his dinner that he's going to. And I'll show you the others in a minute. Okay, this is the second tray on the parchment paper. Works much better. My pans could just be getting old, but I definitely will use parchment paper on this recipe now. It's way easier to get off. The paper sticks a little, but they come out much better shape. Nice round cookies and easy to get off. So that was at 375 for 8 minutes. And this is the others. I put them freezer bags and I freeze them until I'm going to use them for my cookie trays or just for dessert at a dinner or anything like that. I have them already. I have a lot more different kinds to show you and make. So I will be back again to show that to you. And don't forget to think about your own family traditions that you can do at home with your children and your family. And if you don't have any, you can come up with some new ones. Okay, have a beautiful evening, morning, or afternoon whenever you see this video. Bye-bye.